This is Antonio Reid Jr., and I'm hanging out with the Hype magazine for today.
Hey, what's good, everybody? Once again, the Hype magazine live sessions. We're out here tonight with the one and only Antonio Reid. Yes, he has a famous father, but he's a standalone guy, and he's making it happen on his own. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. So, from the outside looking in, for those who don't know you, other than, that situation, let's talk about who's Antonio Reid and what you're doing.
Okay. Antonio Reid is Antonio Reid Jr. Is a man of many hats, right? I'm a creative person, but I have left brain qualities, so people tend to lean on me for my left brain qualities, so that pushed me more into the business side and the creative side of the creative world. Right. And right now, launching my management company, Marquis Reid Management. Marquis is the middle name that both my father and I share. And I just didn't want to do the Antonio Reid Jr. thing, so I called it Marquis Reid Management. Got a couple of artists right now. New artist by the name of Javar Rockamore. He's a hip-hop artist from Memphis, Tennessee, by way of Little Rock, Arkansas. I have another artist that I manage. Her name is Mackenzie Lawson. She's currently in a group called Obsessed, and the group is signed to Timberland. She's currently working on her solo project, album called Rehab. Should be coming out pretty soon. Javar's album is called The Cure. Release date is February 16th. So working on those projects. In addition to that, they are also songwriters and producers. So I have them working on other artists. Some signed, some independent. Javar actually produced a song right now that I just found out today became the #3 most added record on radio this week. Awesome. Or over the past 2 weeks. A song called Sunset by an artist, his name is Damon Blue. Okay. Sunrise.
Okay.
But yeah, that's what I'm doing today, these days.
Normally, right here, I would ask something silly, like, what brought you to the entertainment industry, music specifically? However, we already understand that you didn't really have much of a choice. You were surrounded by it. You didn't have to choose it, but.
Well, with me, my dad clearly had some success in the music business, but I think that even if he had not had success in the business, I feel like I would have been in the music business anyway because his blood flows through me. He was bitten by the music bug early, and I was as well. So before he even had any success, I was in love with music. I was the child that he had while he was trying to figure it out.
Okay.
So my upbringing was a little bit different than everybody else. I'm not the typical rich kid. I grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I grew up just like most people. I had chores. I got in trouble. I had to go through life. My mom, she always worked, but we weren't anything close to well off. My mom's not a lazy person, so she did what she needed to do to turn me into the man that I am today. But we had, we started with humble beginnings. I'll say that. In terms of the music business, I moved to Atlanta when my dad finally kind of got it together. He got a little bit of success, and he was kind of like, okay, you're at that age now where your mom can't show you how to be a man. I need to show you how to be a man. She agreed with that. I personally didn't agree. I didn't want to leave Cincinnati. I came here, and when I got here, I was about 15 years old, something like that. And it was a little bit of a culture shock. I like to compare my life to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Okay.
The difference was I wasn't moving in with my uncle and his family. I was moving in with my dad and his new family. And I brought some of my Cincinnati bad habits with me. And I had, it took me a while to figure out the stuff that I did home was not the stuff that I could get away with here in Atlanta. Through that, I got to sit around studio sessions. We had the Coco was the home studio that my dad had when he started LaFace Records. So I would sneak into sessions for Outkast, Boyz II Men, Pebbles, the Tony Rich Project, different people that would record at our house. And so that was how I started to realize that I really loved music. I was in singing groups in high school. I wrote songs, I rapped, I produced. Then I started to intern for Bobby Brown at Bosstown Studio. At Bosstown, and which was his studio, which is now Stankonia.
Okay.
I interned there for a while, and after high school, I just started to dive into music. I started to try to place records that I was producing and writing. I had a couple of partners that I wrote and that I did music with, and then my dad came to me and he told me he needed my help at his publishing company here in Atlanta, which was Hitco, and he had just taken over Arista Records at the time. He had sold LaFace and took over at Arista Records, and he moved to New York. But his company, Hitco, the publishing company, was located here in Atlanta, and he felt like the people that were there, he wasn't sure if they really had his best interests at heart or if they were just, doing their thing. So he felt like my presence would put the pressure on them a little bit. And, for all intents and purposes, I think he put me there to kind of be like a spy a little bit. But I wasn't really.
He trusted you though.
Yeah. While clearly my family, I'm a family guy, I'm a team guy, and I'm Team Reid, right? So that's a no-brainer. But I wasn't going to be the in-house snitch either. So I worked my way up. It was basically a paid internship. I did everything from getting coffee and dry cleaning and phones to late night security at the studio. And through that, I just decided to put some plays together on my own and work my way up, and eventually placed a really big song for one of our newest songwriters at the time. His name was Sean Garrett. And I placed a song called Yeah on Usher. Myself and Shakir Stewart, rest in peace, Shake, and another gentleman by the name of Billy Calloway. We all played a part in making that record happen. And from there, I just kind of, I was officially in the business at that point. And I knew I didn't want to stop. So I just kept going. And that was early 20s, 22, 23, somewhere around in there, something like that.
Wow. So, is it still fun for you? Or is it now just business?
Well, for me, yes, it's fun. It is fun. That's to answer the question. There was a point where I stopped having fun. And I actually left the music business alone for about 4 to 5 years. I focused on other things. My sister and I had an internet radio show. We actually had dabbled in the reality TV world. We got a deal with WeTV. For whatever reason, we got shelved. I'm still not really sure why. But we shot a pilot, did some production, we did our deal, we closed and signed everything, and they just never went into production on the show. And I was also developing a cartoon at the time too. So I took all those other things that I had happening as, an opportunity to step away from the music business. Because while I did have moderate success in the business, I hadn't had the kind of success that I wanted. And so I was like, well, maybe I should just try something else. And I wasn't in love with the politics of the business, so I wanted to try some other stuff. And I love TV and film just as much as I love music, so I didn't feel like I was losing anything by trying to make that transition over into the television and film world. And I'm still working on all of those projects, except for the radio show, of course. But my cartoon project, reality TV is something we still dabble with, my sister, my brother, and I. But through the course of that 4 or 5 year span, I missed being in the studio. I missed the creative part of music more than anything. So I decided that, to lean on a couple of buddies of mine who were producers and I just wanted to write and produce like I used to originally to their music. So I started back writing again. I started rapping, even singing on songs, and I was really just doing it for fun. In that, you know, I was doing it basically just to scratch the creative itch.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And after that, I just decided I wanted to do a little bit more. An artist came to me who was a buddy of mine, who was a producer. I was writing to his music. I didn't even know he could rap at the time. And that's Jafar Rockamore, I spoke about earlier. And he came to me. He was like, "Listen, man, I've had a number of conversations with you, and I think that you are the guy that can help me make my artistry real. I know you're not necessarily in the music business anymore, and you don't really want to do it, and you're kind of turned off by it. But anything that you can do to help me, I'm all for." And he played me his music, and I liked it. And he was a friend of mine, so I was like, man, you know, he actually even offered to pay me. And I was like, "You don't have to pay me because, you know, it's not a money thing for me. But I believe in you. I liked the music that I heard." And I was like, "You deserve a shot. So I'll commit myself to getting you that shot." A year later, here we are. Now I'm full-fledged music business again because I can't half-ass it. I have to dive all the way in. I don't know how to halfway do it. And this time around, I decided to just fly my own flag, and Marquis Reid Management was born, and that's what I'm doing today.
Marquis Reid Management. You know, I just say that, repeat it, because I want them to hear the management part. The youngsters who think that they have to be the rapper or they have to be the producer,
right?
You know, in front of the camera. They're very important jobs.
Absolutely.
That other artists or other creators need.
Right.
Somebody's got to do those jobs and be an expert and a perfectionist at that in order for cats like Jay-Z and Beyonce to have the success that they do. So it's a career path that they may not think about. You know, NBA, NFL, rapping, or singing if they're lucky.
Right.
You know, singers, I think, are the rappers or the singers having the greater success statistically at this point?
Honestly, it's about melody, more so than rap or sing. It's a melody thing, and as long as you have strong melody, you have success these days. Because Fetty Wap came out of nowhere with 3 smash records, and he technically is a hip hop artist, but truthfully, he's singing on those records. He's, you know, now we're not going to call him Marvin Gaye or Luther Vandross in terms of vocal ability, but his melodies are contagious. You cannot deny that Trap Queen went everywhere. Right? It's a melody thing. So the people that have the most success are the people who have strong melody.
And understand timbre.
Say again?
And the producers that are working with them understand timbre as well. How to work what would be a rap song into something, and how you change it. You're not going to be as gruff. You're going to be more changing the timbre and changing the emotional connection.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Somebody like Drake has just as much success as Adele. You know what I mean? Where her album might sell more records, he's got more #1 hits. You know what I mean? So it's relative to their fan base. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to compare it, but success is success. I don't know if I would choose Drake's career over Adele's career, or vice versa, if I had a choice of which one I would have as an artist. Adele clearly is a singer. Sam Smith clearly is a singer. The Weeknd clearly is a singer. Jay-Z is a rapper. He's huge. Kanye West is a rapper. He's huge. Drake is a rapper. He's huge. And pick your poison at that point. So it's tough to say what has more success. When it comes to me, I just go with what moves me, you know. And when it comes to singers and rappers, singers can be chosen by a record label. rappers can't be chosen by a record label. Rappers have to be chosen by the people. Because a label can sign a guy because he has whatever they call the it factor, right? Or what they think is the it factor. He might have swag, he might have style, he might be a ladies' man or a pretty boy or a tough guy, whatever his thing is. But they can sign him and put him with all the hottest producers and get people to feature on all his songs and do that whole thing, and it still might not work because the people haven't spoken yet. They haven't decided. And when it comes to the people speaking, there are no rules, so to speak, because you couldn't see Fetty Wap coming around the corner.
No.
Had he walked into my office, I might have passed on him. But he had something that spoke to the people that, I might not have seen in a one-on-one intimate setting in an interview or in a showcase in my office. I might not have picked up on what everybody else sees in that arena, right? So he needed to go and do his thing first. So what has more success? I'm not really sure. I think it just kind of depends on who you ask and who you're talking about specifically.
Okay. It's kind of confusing now.
A little bit.
Rappers are singers, singers are rappers.
Right.
What happened to Luther? What happened to Teddy?
Right.
What happened to the OJs?
Right.
Singing.
Right.
And you knew, okay, this guy, whose fault was this? I'm gonna blame this on Ike.
Okay.
You remember the scene in the movie where they started playing and the two little church people who were in there just, jugging just a few seconds ago says, that's evil.
Right.
You gospel music. And so each successive phase of evolution within the entertainment industry, within the music industry, someone doesn't necessarily accept it the way that it is and downs it. But there are millions of people who are feeling it. And it's meeting the people where they are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And when it comes to the singers, one thing that I have to remind people about when I have people showcase for me or they have meetings with me, they complain, right, about all the artists that they feel like are less than them, talent-wise, that make it, right? You hear a lot of people, so-and-so can't sing, how did they make it? So-and-so can't rap, how did you make it? And the truth is, while we used to have great singers, it's never been a singing business. It's the record business. And you can have somebody that can't sing that can make amazing records. Just like you can have somebody that can sing that can't make records. And that's what it's about. That's what it boils down to, because we're not playing the voice, we're playing the song. And it's about the record. And the record has a life. And the artist lives through the song. You know what I mean? And the face of R&B has changed, but R&B is still alive and well. His name is Sam Smith. His name is The Weeknd, right? It's just evolved.
Right.
The R&B that I grew up on is not the same R&B that my mom grew up on.
Right.
Right? I grew up on Boyz II Men, Jodeci, Joe, Carl Thomas, that kind of stuff. My mom grew up on the OJs, so on and so forth. But R&B has always evolved. So people say, where's the old R&B? Well, if you haven't noticed, R&B has never been consistently the same. It changes over time, all the time. So the new version of R&B to me is what The Weeknd does. You just have to evolve with the music, you know what I mean? Or your music has to evolve with the time. And people get trapped into these time capsules and they want everything to be the way it used to be. Well, if you want everything to be the way it used to be, just listen to what used to be there.
Wow, that's dope.
That's the way I
All right, so let's give out the social for Marquis Management.
Marquis Reid Management, MarquisReidMGMT on Instagram. But most of the people can find me at Antonio Reid Jr. on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everything. ANTONIO Reid, Jr.
Man, we want to thank you.